r/AskReddit. Serious, what are some creepy urban legends? There is a local lake that when I was growing up, I heard this story that a woman was drowned there by her fiancé. On certain nights she would come up out of the water, and if you happened to be parked near the lake, she would put her hand on your windshield. If she pulled her hand away and it left a handprint, it meant you were going to die too. Heard a story once about a young girl whose boyfriend had asked her if she would like to go for a drink after her late shift. She agreed, but she had to go back to her house first to get changed. Arriving at her home, she noticed her roommate was asleep. She crept into her room to borrow an item of clothing and without waking her managed to creep back out. The following morning she returned home to find her roommate had been violently murdered. On the mirror, however, in lipstick it read, "Bet you're glad you didn't turn the light on last night." That one about the guy who got lost hiking in the woods, so he wandered until he found a log cabin. He knocked the door but nobody answered. The door wasn't locked, so he went in. There was nothing in the cabin but a room with a bed and lots of paintings of monsters and beasts' faces in the walls. It was very late in the night already, so he fell asleep. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. Then when it was morning he was getting his things ready to go out, and that's when he noticed the scary paintings disappeared, and in its place there were windows. That there is a panther living in the Blue Mountains in Australia. A king panther. Couple local legends in my hometown. We had witch trials a few years before Salem. 2 women were accused. One was hanged. Apparently her grave was very close to my friend's house, and when she would look out the back door some nights she'd see a woman with long black hair covering her face looking up at her bedroom. We also have an abandoned Revolutionary War fort where a young man got choked out by an unseen force. All his friends saw it happen. No one really goes up there at night anymore. In Pennsylvania there's the 7 Gates of Heck near Heckham Township. There was an insane asylum built in the forest away from the general population to keep all the patients away from people. It's believed that the asylum burnt down and many patients died during the fire or escaped into the surrounding forest. The name comes from the fact that a gate was built to keep the escaped patients from leaving the area. But when night falls you can follow the path past the first gate and will eventually P-butt through an additional 6 gates, and after P-butting through the 7th gate will end up in Heck. The one in my country that states, "There was once a foreigner that sang in a karaoke, My Way by Frank Sinatra, in the middle of the night but was shot in the head before he could finish it since he stole the mic from a killer that reserved the song," and some claim that it happened multiple times in a span of a decade in multiple locations. From that day on, patrons of any bar will refrain from choosing My Way in a karaoke in the middle of the night in fear that their lives will end before they could finish the song by a mysterious figure brandishing a pistol patrolling every bar that will end anyone that even dares to sing that song. Versions of this tale may change, but the idea is the same. That one about the babysitter that brings the kids to bed. In the hallway is a statue of a clown that bugs her. When she goes to check on the kids a few hours later, she notices that the statue has a different stance. The babysitter starts to second-guess herself, goes downstairs and the phone rings. It's the parents asking if everything is okay with the kids. "Yep, everything is fine, except for that clown statue, it's creeping me out." The other side of the line goes, "We don't have a clown statue." Cue unnerving music. A woman met a nice man at a party and she went to his place afterwards to hook up. They really clicked, so they set up a date for another time. A day later she had a really bad rash around her mouth, so she went to the doctor. When the doctor saw it he was shocked. Apparently that type of rash only come from being in contact with dead, decaying bodies. Turns out the man she met is a serial killer and likes to do it with dead women after he kills them, and she was his next victim. On the island of Okinawa, Japan, there was a house in which a man killed himself and his family. It was said that he was persecuting the rest of the inhabitants. It is reported that after this event, various terrible things were going on in the house, a sudden turn on of light, or, for example, in the window you could see a woman who washes her hair in the sink. The scariest thing today is that this house was separated by a fence. And children 4 to 5 years old, who study not far in kindergarten, constantly throw toys into the fence. When asked why they do this, the guys said they want to play with the children on the other side. It is frightening to realize that almost all living children have seen the dead. This greatly frightened those who worked in the kindergarten. In my opinion, it's creepy. The hands resist him painting, where the subjects of the paintings reportedly move around at night out of their frame. Humans can lick too. Very first scary story I read online. Pants crafting was had. That legend where a couple is making out in a well-known spot in the woods. The girl is complaining about being afraid, while the guy is teasing her. Apparently, a man with a hook for a hand escaped from a local prison, and he was known for murdering young couples. Eventually, the girl convinced the guy to leave and take her home. When she gets out of the car, she starts to scream. A hook was stuck on the door handle. Gives me the shivers every time. The Whistler. Basically, a son killed his father and the grandfather found out, whipped the boys back to a raw state and made him carry his dad's bones in a sack for all eternity. Scary thing is that when he is around you will hear a whistle. Thing is, the louder the whistle the farther away he is, the closer he is the whistle will sound more faint. It's said he does this to play with you and confuse you before mutilating you and adding your bones to his sack. Said to have killed hundreds of people. Have you seen this man? Dream thing. I don't like how the picture looks right at you, it's unnerving. Stranger Things is based on legends from my hometown. It's actually on the east end of Long Island. The Demogorgon, we called that the Montauk Beast, the Montauk Monster, or just the Beast. We used to break into the old Air Force base and there were always rumors that it was never actually shut down and everything was just moved underground. It was called the Montauk Project and it's a pretty well-known one, but most people don't know about the more local parts like the Beast taking kids or why there's higher rates of twins and triplets out there and stuff like that. In my opinion, it's the Kuchisaki Onna. Japanese urban legends are on a whole different level. I didn't dare to go outside after dark for a while after having read that, but when I did go, I was sprinting to my destination. If creepypastas count, it's probably Smile.jpg or SmileDog. The one about a man who was hiking and crosses a cabin where he decides to spend the night. Inside, he sees that the cabin is lined with portraits, however there's no lights in the cabin so he can't see them clearly. The eyes seem to be following him. He's too tired and sleeps there anywhere. When he wakes up, he doesn't see any paintings. Only windows. The Curse of the Crying Boy painting. Black-eyed children, I would have a heart attack. Here in Italy there is a legend in our high school that a guy killed himself by jumping over the window of his CL buttroom. The fact here is that if you come to school early, I mean very early, you can see his ghost in the window of his CL buttroom. Edit, sorry for the bad English I self-taught. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe and smack that bell icon to stay up to date on our videos. See you next time.